Good morning, everybody. EHP is one of the most widely discussed shrimp diseases recently. It has become a great threat to shrimp industry in Asia, including India. Both hatchery and farm operators are forced to abruptly close their activities due to EHP issues because too little information is available about this disease. Since EHP is the serious pathogen of shrimp industry, it is better to know its life cycle and infection mechanisms to develop preventive and therapeutic strategies. So, I have prepared a video on control of EHP in shrimp farming in two parts. In the first part, a detailed knowledge of EHP infection, and in the second part, preventive and control measures are discussed. Before going to the topic, a brief introduction about me. I am Dr. Pindi Sai Baba, worked in teaching profession for 37 years in a degree college and retired as head of the Department of Zoology. I have been giving aqua consultancy for the last 35 years. At present, I am the chief consultant to our Saptagiri Aqua Labs at Amalapuram in Andhra Pradesh. Till date, the viral and bacterial diseases have caused huge economic losses in shrimp farming. But recently, fungal pathogens also joined the list. Now, EHP has become the biggest threat to shrimp industry, causing significant economic losses. In the first part of the video, I am going to discuss about number 1, current knowledge of EHP infection, number 2, my experience with Microsporidia, and number 3, biology, pathology, and diagnosis of EHP. EHP is the abbreviation for Microsporidium parasite Enterocytozoon hepatopeni. It is an intracellular cytoplasmic spore-forming fungal parasite. It mainly infects hepatopancreas of shrimp and causes a disease called hepatopancreatic microsporidiasis or HPM in culture shrimp. In India, EHP is now the third most serious problem for shrimp farmers after white spot virus disease and whitefish syndrome. It has been reported in Asian countries such as China, Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam, Thailand, Brunei, and India. Recently, it has also been reported in Venezuela of South America. EHP affects Penis monodon, Penis venami, Penis stylirostris, Penis japonicus, and Penis merguiensis. Next, history. EHP was first reported as a new undescribed microsporidium in Penis monodon in Thailand in 2004 and later described as EHP in Penis venami in 2009. EHP should not be confused with Agmasoma peni, another microsporidium parasite that infects muscle and connective tissue in Penis monodon and Penis venami in Asia, causing cotton shrimp disease. You can find in this slide the Penis venami affected with cotton shrimp disease. This disease is not found in India. My experience with Microsporidium. I have first identified a Microsporidium parasite, Amazon species, in our area at Amalapuram in Andhra Pradesh in Metapenis species. It was collected from Tiger Shrimp Culture Pond in 1994. It infects muscle tissue and causes cotton shrimp disease or milk shrimp disease in Metapenis species. I brought the samples to our lab and observed under microscope. I suspected it as a protozoan parasite Nosema. At that time, it was included in protozoa. It has no effect on cultured tiger shrimp since it requires a secondary host, that is fish, for its transmission, which is not available in the culture pond of the tiger shrimp. I sent my observations to S.K. Johnson of Texas University, USA for further confirmation in 1994. He confirmed my observation and suggested a recent name Amazon instead of Nosema. You can see the affected shrimp and also squash mount of muscle tissue showing spores of Amazon in this slide. What my experience with EHP is, EHP has been present in venomous shrimp farms for many years in India before its confirmation in 2016. During 2012, farmers were frequently brought shrimp samples to our lab complaining about slow growth in their ponds. I have observed the spores of EHP for the first time by light microscopy in 2012 in the squash amount of gut content in Pinus venae. But I could not confirm EHP due to low prevalence of infections and non-availability of molecular test kits. Since then, I have been consistently followed the disease condition. The microscopy studies of spores conducted in our lab were compared with the published literatures and finally confirmed it as EHP in 2014. I alerted the farmers through print and electronic media to take necessary precautions. But I was unable to attract much attention of the farmers at that time since it is an unknown newly emerging disease causing no mortality. It was neglected and underestimated. In India, the emergence of EHP infection in cultured Pinus venae was first confirmed scientifically by SIBA in 2016. At present, it has become one of the most economically important diseases in shrimp culture. Impact of EHP on shrimp culture. EHP has three main impacts on shrimp culture. Number one, it has increased the prevalence and intensity of white fishes syndrome. Number two, the sizes of cultured shrimp have been falling since 2012. Number three, FCR and production costs have been increased, resulting in huge financial losses. The average body weight of harvested shrimp has been gradually decreasing from year to year due to EHP infection since 2012. In the past, farmers were able to produce 30 count shrimp and it is gradually diminished to 100 count size at present. It appears that the harvest sizes of shrimp may further decrease to 150 to 200 count in coming years due to EHP infection. Reasons for serious concerns about EHP. Number one, disease signs are not observed before 2 months of culture period. Number two, it does not allow the shrimp to die or to grow healthy. Number three, spores can survive outside the host for several years. Number four, proper established disinfection protocols are not available. Number five, severe EHP infection leads to septic hepatopancreatic necrosis and white fishes syndrome. Number six, FCR and cost of production increases that result in severe economic loss. Number seven, there is no treatment for EHP, but EHP can be mitigated with strict biosecurity measures. Next, biology of EHP. EHP belongs to the kingdom Mycota or fungi, phylum Microsporidia and family Enterocytozonidae. Microsporidians were previously classified as protozoa but are now known to be closely related to fungi. EHP mainly infects the hepatopancreas and also found in the midgut of shrimp. It multiplies in the cytoplasm of hepatopancreatic cells as shown in the diagram and appears in the form of plasmodia and spores. In the diagram, large-sized yellow-colored cells are hepatopancreatic cells of shrimp and small vowel-shaped cells are EHP spores. EHP absorbs the nutrients of the hepatopancreatic cells for multiplication. This depletes the cell nutrients resulting in the death and rupture of the hepatopancreatic cell and release of mature spores. Next, life cycle of EHP. EHP begins its life cycle with mature spore stage. The spores enter the shrimp body through contaminated food and water through oral route and reach stomach. They finally enter the hepatopancreas and undergo rapid multiplication in hepatopancreatic cells to produce mature spores, as explained in the earlier slide. The mature spores are released into the pond through feces. Thus, EHP completes its life cycle in shrimp body without any secondary host. Farmers should be aware that EHP infected shrimp in the pond acts as spore producing factories. It is probable that the EHP native seed stocked in nurseries may become EHP positive due to rapid multiplication of spores. The PLs may have a very low level of spore load at the time of stocking that might have escaped from PCR testing and giving EHP negative result. But the juveniles develop EHP positive condition due to cohabitation at close proximity and rapid multiplication of EHP spores in the hepatopancreas. The life cycle of EHP is very simple and divided into three main stages. One, infective stage or mature spore stage. Number two, multiplication stage or myriogony. And number three, spore production stage or sporogony. Infection to the host cell begins with the spore germination. The mature spore punctures the hepatopancreatic cell membrane with the polar tube and transfer the spore content, that is sporoplasm, into the cytoplasm of hepatopancreatic cell as shown in the diagram 1. Inside the hepatopancreatic cell, the sporoplasm undergoes nuclear division by myriogony and develops into branched multinucleate body called plasmodium stage. You can observe in the diagrams 2 and 3. It further divides into sporoblast by sporogony and then to mature spores within the host cell cytoplasm. Observe the diagram 4. The host cell swells and ruptures to release mature spores. You can observe the diagram 5. The mature spores either enter the other healthy hepatopancreatic cells of the same shrimp or released into the environment through feces and infect other shrimp. Next, transmission routes. Transmission of EHP can occur via feces as shown in route number 1 and cannibalism as shown in the route number 2. Alternative hosts or environmental reservoirs that serve as EHP carriers may also exist in the pond environment. Healthy shrimp could be infected to EHP by eating EHP infected shrimp or the organisms in the pond such as worms, crabs and crab fecal matter. Next, structure of spore. The spores are valve shaped and contain a filament called polar tube with 5 to 6 coilings. The spore wall consists of 2 layers. The spore wall protects the spore contents from harsh environmental conditions. The spore wall also contains spore wall proteins that participate in the host cell recognition and attachment. EHP can produce 2 different types of spores, one type for horizontal transmission and the other type for transfer to an alternative host. The microsporidian spores can survive outside the host in the environment for several years. Some industry experts believe that the spores of EHP can withstand 50 years of drying, but recent studies revealed that EHP spores can remain viable for 6 months on dry surfaces and retain infectivity for over a year under aqueous conditions. The spore is nearly indestructible. Next, mode of transmission. Transmission takes place by both horizontal and vertical methods. EHP can be transmitted directly from shrimp to shrimp by oral route via contaminated food, water, soil or equipment. EHP differs from the other microsporidian parasites such as Egmasoma, Emeson and Pleistopora, where the parasite requires an intermediate host, that is fish, for its transmission, while EHP does not require any intermediate host. The reservoirs or mechanical carriers for EHP may also exist in the pond, but not yet confirmed. Vertical transmission through fecal contamination of broodstock is also observed. Transmission also occurs by contact with the EHP spore. So farmers are cautioned about the visitors of the pond. In this slide you can see the mechanism of spore transmission. The spore wall proteins help in the attachment of spores to the hepatopancreatic cells. You can see the resting spore in number 1 diagram. Polar tube is extruded as shown in number 2 diagram and injects the spore content into the hepatopancreatic cell of shrimp as shown in the number 3 diagram. The EHP spores are attracted to the hepatopancreatic cells through the interactions between heparin binding proteins of spore wall and heparin molecules present on the surface of the hepatopancreatic cell. EHP pathology and gross signs of disease. Generally, disease shrimp will be identified by the externally visible clinical symptoms, but in the case of EHP, the clinical symptoms are not specific and not visible before 2 months of culture period. EHP is associated with growth retardation and wide size variation. Shrimp grows at a normal rate during the first 25 days of culture period. In a more advanced stage, EHP infected shrimp typically display soft shells, lethargy, reduced feed intake, discolored hepatopancreas, and empty midgut. But these clinical symptoms are not specific to EHP and found in other infections also. EHP limits growth but does not cause mortality. Sometimes mortalities may occur when EHP leads to a bacterial problem called hepatopancreas vibriosis or septic hepatopancreatic necrosis or SHPN. It has been called with different names including white feces syndrome and running mortality syndrome. The severity of EHP infection is directly related to the number of spores in the hepatopancreas of the shrimp. The higher the number of spores, the greater impact in stunted growth. In EHP infected ponds, the harvested shrimp might have 5 size categories and many small sized shrimp. Relationship between EHP and white feces syndrome. EHP is sometimes associated with white feces syndrome, but sometimes not associated. EHP does not directly involve in the development of white feces syndrome, but EHP infections can be a risk factor for other diseases in shrimp. Destruction of hepatopancreatic tissues by EHP leads to Vibrio infections like septic hepatopancreatic necrosis or SHPN and white feces syndrome. So, white gut and white feces are the clinical symptoms of SHPN. A direct relationship exists between level of EHP spore load and severity of white feces disease in shrimp. PLs that have 20 to 30% of EHP infection in the hepatopancreas might develop white feces disease in 65 to 79 days. For PLs that have moderate infection or 40 to 60% of infection in the hepatopancreas might develop white feces disease within 30 to 44 days. PLs that have strong PCR positive result and have severe infection or 60 to 90% of infection in the hepatopancreas might develop white feces within 14 to 20 days. Next, diagnosis of EHP. EHP can be detected by microscopy and molecular methods like nested PCR, real-time PCR or quantitative PCR or qPCR, loop-mediated isothermal amplification or LAMP. EHP spores can be found in squash mounds of central part of the hepatopancreatic tissue and shrimp fecal samples stained with 2% aqueous fluoxin B stain. Diagnosis of EHP by microscopy is very difficult as the spores are very small in size and produced in less number. It needs practice and patience. Molecular methods discussed in earlier slide give accurate results, but qualified, trained and skilled persons shall operate the instruments in molecular methods for accurate results. Proper sampling of hepatopancreas is also essential for accuracy of EHP detection because EHP spores are unevenly distributed inside the hepatopancreas. Detection of EHP pathogen is very difficult because that the testing is not as simple as with other diseases. PCR is the simplest way to identify the presence of EHP. However, PCR requires a certain quantity of DNA to register a positive reading. If any animal carries low level of infection with a few spores, there will not be sufficient DNA to register a positive reading. For this reason, the carrier shrimp, whether it is a broodstock to a hatchery or post-larvae to a farm, goes undetected. The results of qPCR is given in CT value. The CT value indicates the intensity level of pathogen. Lesser the CT values, higher the infection level. The CT value 15 to 25 indicate very severe infection. CT value 26 to 30 indicate moderate infection. CT value 31 to 35 indicates very light infection. When EHP is detected in growth ponds, managing EHP and production planning are more important. We should link the severity of infection to average body weight, average daily growth and FCR. Then only we can make decisions on how to manage stocks in the affected ponds, whether to continue or harvest or abort the crop. There should be timely communication between farmers and the laboratory technicians and production planning based on the EHP severity. But this is currently a weak link in our shrimp industry. This is the end of part 1. Please stay connected to part 2, where I am going to discuss about practical preventive and control measures to keep the EHP away from the culture environment. You can contact me for further details if any on this topic. Lastly, a small suggestion. Our health is also important to monitor the health of the shrimp. So, stay healthy with washing hands, wearing mask and taking nutritious food like shrimp. Thank you all.